Amara sat at the dinner table, staring at the empty chair across from her. David, her husband, was always late, but this time something felt different. Normally, he would come home after a while, apologize, and explain why he was late. But tonight, the minutes turned into hours, and he still hadn't shown up. The clock on the wall ticked away, each second making her more anxious. She tried calling David, hoping to hear his voice on the other end. But instead of the usual greeting, the phone went straight to voicemail. This only made her feel more uneasy. Something was wrong. Amara stood up and walked through the house, checking each room. She peeked into the living room, the kitchen, and even the garage. David was nowhere to be found. Panic started to build inside her. This wasn't like him. David always told her where he was going, no matter how late it was. He was reliable, and now he had disappeared without a word. As midnight passed, Amara couldn't stay still any longer. She called the police. They asked for details, his height, weight, what he was wearing, the last time she saw him, and promised they would start investigating right away. She spoke to her friends and family too. They tried to comfort her, but their words didn't help. The worry in her chest wouldn't go away. Something terrible had happened, and she couldn't ignore it. Days went by, and the fear inside her only grew. There was still no word from David. The police couldn't find any trace of him. He was simply gone. Amara clung to the hope that he would return, but that hope was slowly fading. The phone calls and the visits to the police station didn't change anything. She was losing him, even if she didn't want to admit it. Then, one afternoon, the news came that shattered her world. A body had been found near the river. The police had confirmed the body was David's. Amara's heart sank. She couldn't believe it. The man she loved was gone. The man she had been waiting for, the man who had promised to come home to her, was dead. The days after the news were a blur. Funeral arrangements were made, and Amara went through the motions, too numb with grief to care about much else. Every room in the house felt like a reminder of him. His shoes by the door, his toothbrush in the bathroom, the smell of his cologne still lingering in the air. Every time she saw something that reminded her of David, it was like a knife to her heart. She couldn't sleep. Every night she woke up in a panic, calling his name into the darkness, hoping he would answer. 2 weeks later, while sitting in the living room, scrolling through her phone, Amara saw something that made her stop. A Facebook notification. Wild party tonight. She almost ignored it, but for some reason, she clicked on it. As the video loaded, her breath caught in her throat. There on the screen was David. He was alive. He was sitting at a table, laughing, surrounded by people. Amara's hands shook as she stared at the screen. She had to blink twice to make sure she wasn't seeing things. It couldn't be. She had seen his body, had buried him. And yet, there he was, alive and well, having fun like nothing had ever happened. Her heart raced as she tried to make sense of what she was seeing. Was it a look-alike? A twin? But no, it wasn't. It was David. The scar on his hand, the watch on his wrist, the tattoo on his arm, all the details were exactly the same as the man she had loved. Amara quickly tried to call the Facebook account, but before she could, the video ended. She couldn't get through. The account was blocked. Her mind raced. What was going on? Why was David alive? Why hadn't he come home to her? In a panic, she tried to figure out where the video had been filmed. Was it somewhere nearby? She thought of all the places David used to go, but she couldn't think of any place where he might be now. She was left with more questions than answers. Just when she was about to give up, Amara remembered something from the video. In the background, she had caught a glimpse of a mansion. It had a large fountain, tall iron gates, and a beautiful garden. Something about it seemed familiar. She couldn't quite place it, but she felt sure she had seen it before. Amara quickly took a screenshot of the video and zoomed in on the mansion. She started comparing it to every mansion she knew in the city. Her heart raced when she finally recognized it. It was a mansion not far from the city, a place she had seen before. She knew she had to go there. But what if it was a trap? What if David didn't want to be found? Still, her desire for answers was stronger than her fear. She couldn't let this go. She needed to know the truth. Amara rented a car and drove through the city, her hands gripping the steering wheel tightly. When she reached the mansion, she saw the iron gates were closed, with a tall man standing guard. She tried to sneak closer, peeking through the bars, and that's when she saw him. David. He was standing in the garden, laughing with a young woman. They were holding hands, like a couple. Amara's heart dropped. Who was she? Why was David with her? Amara stepped back into the shadows, but as she did, she noticed a security camera. Its red light was blinking. She had been seen. Panic rushed through her. Someone was watching her. She needed to leave, but her heart wouldn't let her. She had to know what was going on. As she drove back home, Amara couldn't stop thinking about what she had seen. David was alive, but he wasn't the man she thought she knew. There were so many questions and no answers. Why had he disappeared? Who was that woman? And why had he kept all of this from her? That night, Amara received another message from an unknown number. Stop looking. You'll regret it. The words sent a chill down her spine. Someone didn't want her to find David. But that only made her more determined. She couldn't stop now. She needed to know the truth, no matter what it took. The next day, Amara tried calling the Facebook account again, but it was gone. The video had been deleted. It was like David had vanished from the internet, just like he had disappeared from her life. But she wasn't going to give up. She kept searching, looking for any clue that would lead her to him. She remembered the mansion, the fountain, the garden. She had to go back. But this time, Amara wasn't going to be so careful. She was going to get the answers she needed. Amara couldn't shake the thought of David. Every second felt like a minute, and every minute felt like an hour. She spent the entire night thinking about what had happened. Why had David disappeared? Why was he alive? And who was that woman? There were so many unanswered questions, and she had no choice but to find out the truth. She couldn't just live in uncertainty. The next day...
Hold on, the video's not over yet. Head to the comments for a link to the full video on YouTube. Click it and watch the rest. Thanks for watching Empire Stories.